Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to a spring training update. We are talking about the Toronto Blue Jays today. If you guys are new here, we cover all baseball news from every team, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of it. And the Blue Jays we're talking about today have been one of the more interesting teams. They've had a very interesting offseason, and they've put a lot of faith into some players that have had a bit of some downtime when it comes to their performance. So let's talk about all of it right now. Some good signs coming from the pitching staff. We have some pitchers finding their old selves again. Steven Matz used to be a really good pitcher for the New York Mets in 2016, but ever since then he decreased a lot, and then last year was obviously one of his worst. He had like a 10 ERA or something, and some Blue Jays players that have come over from other teams normally say that they find it and they click when they hit rock bottom, like Teoscar Hernandez hit rock bottom in 2019. He said when he got sent down to the minors, it really clicked for him, and now Steven Matz was turned on by the New York Mets. They wanted to move forward. They didn't want Matz on their roster anymore, so they traded him to Toronto. I feel like that might have been a little bit of a blow to Matz, considering he was a Mets fan growing up and it was his dream to pitch there. So I think this will sort of revamp him to make him a new pitcher, and hopefully he can figure things out. So far, he's looked really good in spring training. He hasn't given up a run yet. And then Robbie Ray, who the Blue Jays got at the trade deadline last year from Arizona, he's also had a really good spring training. Before his game today, he had really good command. He actually had another good game today against Baltimore. It wasn't televised, so I didn't get to see how well his stuff was moving, but he has looked good over his limited starts in spring training. Good command so far. That was really his big issue. Giving up walks has always been an issue for him, so he's looked pretty good. Even though it is spring training and they're not versing the best teams, it is a good sign to see. Obviously, he'll be put to the test over 162 games and against some of the best teams, because they do play some really good teams to start off the season. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Another pitcher we have to talk about, Francisco Liriano. He was brought back to the team on a non-roster invite, so he is trying to earn a job. I don't think he will start any games consistently for the Blue Jays. Maybe here and there he might start a game, but I think he's going to be there to be a long man for the team. If he doesn't make the team, then he is a veteran presence in spring training, rubbing off on all the young guys, giving them experience from what he's learned. So all around good non-roster move for the Blue Jays, and if he does make the team, maybe he can contribute to the Blue Jays playoff run. And then Kirby Yates and Nate Pearson. Yates has been extremely good in the past, but he has been injured in the past, so the question is just if he can stay healthy. I think the Blue Jays bullpen will still be really good without Yates, even if they miss him, but I hope he stays in and is playing like his former self, because Yates is really good at his best, so that's always good to see. And then Nate Pearson also got injured recently. It wasn't supposed to be that significant, but he might be done until the start of the regular season, so hopefully he can get back on track, because he is going to be a big part of the Blue Jays rotation. And then we have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He has been very interesting to watch this spring training, because before today's game, he has 5 hits, 5 RBIs, and 3 walks, which is showing that he's a little bit more disciplined at the plate. He's not swinging wildly as much as he did in years before, and he's made a lot of progress. This offseason, he worked really hard. He lost a lot of weight. He added lots of muscle, and it's starting to show at spring training early. He's a little bit quicker with swinging the bat and running the bases, so all good signs from Vladdy. I think he can have a really big year this year for the Blue Jays, and he's already had a pretty good spring training. Going on to the player that I think is going to break out for the Toronto Blue Jays, we have Rowdy Tellez. Rowdy is more overlooked because the Blue Jays have so many other young stars like Biggio, Bichette, Vladdy, and they have other stars on the team that aren't young like Springer and Semien. So I feel like this will probably push him to take another step so he isn't overlooked. And another thing I realized about Tellez, I actually looked at his stats. He plays better when he's DHing and not playing first base. So maybe he doesn't like to play the field as much, and if that he does like to play DH more, then that will mean Randall Gritchett will probably lose at bats, so it's interesting to see what will happen there. But I think Tellez is going to break out this year because he wants to prove himself to the team. He wants to prove that he's just as good as everyone else on the team, and the news should be covering him more. And then maybe if he plays DH 100 games, maybe he has a breakout year. You never know. Going to the Blue Jays' top performer, we have Josh Palacios. I think I pronounced that right, maybe wrong, but in 8 games so far, or 7 games before today's game, he has 5 hits, a 3 .57 average, and he almost hit for a cycle in one of his games. So he is really showing up to the Blue Jays camp. He's trying to make a name for himself. Obviously, the Blue Jays have 4 everyday starting outfielders that could have the job, but I think the Blue Jays still want to have a backup option. Maybe if there's a taxi squad option for the Blue Jays to use. Jonathan Davis has been around for a while. He's pretty good defensively. He just needs to have his back come around, and then he would probably have the job 100%. But Palacios is really making his push to get onto the team, and he is really doing it pretty well. And then the competition everywhere else, mostly on the infield. The Blue Jays have a lot of infield depth. Obviously, they have a really good infield already. It's already full of future superstars, but they want to have another backup or maybe someone who can step in if there's an injury, because Bichette was injured for a bit last year. So they have Joe Panik. It's probably his job to lose as of right now. He is veteran. He has won a World Series before in San Francisco, so he brings the championship vibes to Toronto. Probably a good person to keep around these young players in the clubhouse, because he knows what it feels like to win legitimately, because Springer also won, but we all know what happened in 2017 with the Astros. So it's probably his to lose. They've had some former top prospects like Logan Warmoth. He actually has been playing pretty well. I don't know if he'll make the bigs this year, maybe next year, or maybe if there's an injury he'll make the bigs, but they've also been trying him out in right and left field, so maybe he can crack the team as an outfielder. And the Blue Jays have also had some current top prospects like Austin Martin and Jordan Groshans playing. I don't think they're really playing to earn a spot. They're just playing to get their feet wet against some major league talent, because they both lost the minor league year last year, especially Groshans. He hasn't really played a lot since 2019 due to injury and obviously being restricted due to the lack of play time. So I feel like that's good to get their feet wet. Joe Panik's probably going to have that spot on the bench because he has a lefty bat as well. So that was a pretty good pickup for them in the offseason, and they have some other options like Santiago Espinal and Richard Urania, like I said before. So good bench for the Blue Jays. They have lots of options for infield and outfield. And then the catching spot, Alejandro Kirk versus McGuire. Going to be interesting to see, because McGuire doesn't have any options. If he does get placed on waivers, he'll probably be claimed. And then if Jansen gets injured, you don't have any catching depth, and there's some problems. So I think McGuire is probably going to start the year off with the team, or he's going to get traded. The problem is Kirk is probably better at hitting than McGuire is. Obviously, McGuire is more of a defensive catcher, so maybe the Jays go off the bat with Kirk and then just try to sneak McGuire through on waivers, or maybe they just use McGuire and start Kirk at AAA or the alternate site to get some more reps in and get better over time. So I think the Blue Jays are going to have a lot of options at their hands. I feel like they're going to be really good this year. Let me know who you think you are excited to see, and who do you think is going to blow up this year for the Blue Jays. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. See you guys in the next one.